Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andrew, and welcome back to another installation of my review series under the title Do I Recommend? Where I talk about a game, give you my thoughts on it, and tell you whether or not I personally recommend you spend your hard-earned cash on it or not. Today's game we'll be looking at is the long-awaited sequel to 2010's Alan Wake. After a long and grueling 13 years, Alan Wake 2 has finally released, and fans can now delve back into Bright Falls and its darkness once again. I never truly experienced any game made by Remedy until Alan Wake 2's release date was quickly closing in. I had played a bit of Control back in 2021, but never really bothered to see it to its end. This time, however, in order for me to feel truly ready for Alan Wake 2, I decided to play the original Alan Wake and its corresponding DLCs, and Control and its DLCs, during the month of September. Now that I've engrossed myself in Remedy's connected universe, I was ready for Alan Wake 2. The platform I played Alan Wake 2 on, and all footage you are seeing right now, is from the game's 60 FPS targeted performance mode on PlayStation 5. With all that now sorted, let's see if I do or do not recommend Alan Wake 2. First, we'll start with the story. The story takes place 13 years after the events of the first Alan Wake. Alan is still trapped in the dark place and attempts an escape by writing a horror story involving an FBI agent named Saga Anderson. During the story, Saga and her partner investigate a chain of murders occurring in Bright Falls, the main location from the first game, in order to attempt to discover the perpetrators causing these murders and the dark secrets that holds in the town's past. The game follows two main protagonist stories that are separate from each other but come together at main pinnacle points of the story. One is the already discussed Saga with her investigation, and the other is Alan, who is exploring the dark reaches of the dark place as he's attempting to try to write the story that will free him from it. I thoroughly enjoy the story and its characters. Alan is still Alan, with his constant monologuing and talking to himself as if he was in a noir detective film that we all know well and love truly, making dry jokes once in a while, which gives just a bit of light to a mostly dark story, figuratively and literally. Saga is a bit different. She talks to herself about as much as Alan, but it always seems more logical, calculating, as if every person or thing she sees is part of a constantly changing puzzle that she's trying to solve. We also see a friendly and casual side of her when she banters with her partner or talks to her family members that we can see that she deeply loves. I really like the callbacks to Alan Wake 1 and Control I would see throughout the game, whether it was characters, specific things, or concepts that you've seen in previous games. These callbacks really made the constantly expanding connected universe Remedy has made for us just feel just more alive. If I was asked if I would recommend the game on its story alone, just the story, no gameplay, mechanics, nothing, just the story, it would be the easiest yes in my life. Next, let's talk about gameplay. The gameplay in Alan Wake 2 is vastly different from its predecessor. While the original Alan Wake was an action-adventure game mixed with atmospheric horror, Alan Wake 2 is purely a horror survival game, heavily inspired by the Resident Evil remakes that have been released throughout the last few years. Gameplay is slow and methodical, with resources that are heavily limited, making you want to be precise with your aim and calculated with your engagements with enemy combatants. Your flashlight is still your best friend, as it's the main way to make enemies vulnerable to your arsenal of firearms and weapons. The areas you explore in the game are giant levels that are self-contained and focused on, like for example, the entire main town of Bright Falls, Cauldron Lake and surrounding areas, etc. In levels accessible to Saga, you'll find things such as stashes that are opened via either a combination that you'll need to figure out based on the note on top of the box, or a key that's found nearby via directions given by arrows that are only viewable with your flashlight. Another lunchbox is scattered across the levels based on the Alex Casey book series written by Alan that contain materials needed to provide upgrades to Saga's weapon. Alan's side of things are similar, with Alan needing to find writings called Words of Power scribbled on walls, ceilings, or objects that provide upgrades specific to Alan's arsenal. For example, reduce damage that he takes from enemies, and what have you. The two protagonists' main way of progression are unique. While playing Saga's side of the story, you'll progress by swapping to her mind place, a location in her mind that allows her to piece together and look back on various bits of evidence found during her investigation. This then allows her to make deductions based on said information to make breakthroughs in her case that then progress the story. Alan's side of the story has him swapping to his writer's room, a location where he can rewrite and change reality in order to access new areas or find certain things that he needs to further progress into the story in which he's freeing himself from the dark place. The gameplay in Alan Wake is something I'm a big fan of. The slow and methodical exploration in a dark unknown path, alongside with the mechanics used to progress the ongoing plot of the story, it was a blast to learn and discover what I could do. Because of this, I would easily recommend Alan Wake 2 for its gameplay. Now that I've talked about the main pillars of this game, which focuses purely on its story and gameplay sections, what are my final thoughts? Alan Wake 2 is a perfect follow-up to a game that some regard as a masterpiece. From its well-written story and characters to its interesting shakeup and gameplay progression, Alan Wake 2 is well worth the $60 price tag if you're on console and $50 on PC. Do I recommend Alan Wake 2? Absolutely yes! It is well worth the price in my opinion. But with all that out of the way, there's not much else to be said. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next video. Bye-bye.